challenges did your dad overcome?
When he was 9 years old, he got a really bad infection called osteomyelitis in his hip. And they had to take him to the hospital and drain it out with a great big needle. They ended up having to fuse his hip so he sat like this. He couldn't bend on his hip. And that dashed his dreams of becoming a great football player.
Yeah.
So shortly after that, he had a lot of competition in him, a competitive spirit. His dad brought him home a 75-cent tennis racket. And he went up and played in the back of the church. There was a grassy, kind of weedy tennis court, and he learned it. He strung a rope across and he played with his sister, and he learned to play tennis that way. He became a champion at age 15. He won his first tennis tournament, and it was written up in the paper. And the sports writer wrote, Rick Warner, the handicapped 15-year-old, won the tennis player, and he's a really good tennis player. His father called the sports writer and said, don't you ever call my son a handicapped. He's a good player, and that's that. So he went on in college. He won 3 national tennis tournaments in a row. The doubles with his sister, mixed doubles, the doubles with his other partner, and the singles. And they called it the hat trick because the hat had 3 parts on it. But he became a champion tennis player. Well, when I was growing up, he used to take us kids down to the East High tennis courts early in the morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning when there was a breeze and it was cool, and he would teach us to play tennis. But his main thing was racket back, bend your knees, and hit it in front. Watch the ball. But it was a lot of fun. He always made it fun to play. And when we went on trips together, we'd usually go to a place where they had a lot of tennis courts. And they had a man there called a pro. He was a really good tennis player, always. So he could give the guests a really good game. My dad went out one day and he asked the pro for a game. And he said, by the way, could you just tie my shoe for me? And so the tennis pro thought, well, this will be an easy game. Because he saw my dad, he had a slight limp. And they started playing, and my dad just started whipping. He had a special shot that he knew how to place the ball in the opposite corner of where the player was. And he would have a shot where he hit it over the net, and he'd slice it, and it would bounce backwards. But any time he played, he made sure that the other player had a good time. He never whipped them so bad that they felt bad. But he won. The church used to have a tennis tournament for fathers and sons, and my dad played with all 8 of my brothers and sisters and won it. Not with me, but with my 8 brothers and sisters.
What was he like as a dad?
What was he like as a dad? He was always joking around. When he came in the house and a guest came in the house, he'd shake your hand like this. How are you, Sam? But he was just always having fun. Always made it fun. And he was always positive. I never saw my dad grouchy or moping around or ever. He was always upbeat and positive, even when things were hard at work. I saw my dad. He got into the board business with his father, and later bought Bennett Ford and turned it into Rick Porter Ford. It was named later on. And his motto, he had his picture on the side of the building, said, "It's service that counts." He was always serving people. He was always giving to people. That was his main, where he spent most of his main energy.
What were some of his quotes? Like famous quotes?
Well, he used the word swell a lot. But let me just tell you a little more. I can give you the quotes a little bit later, but